Are you feeling overwhelmed by all the Azure tools out there? You're not alone. Azure can seem like a massive maze of features, services, and updates. But here's the good news. Once you understand the essentials, everything starts to click into place. So today, I'm going to break down the core Azure tools you need to master in 2025, and I'll show you how easy it can be once you know where to start. Welcome back. If you're an IT admin or just beginning your cloud journey, this video is for you. We'll walk through the key Azure tools that make your life easier: Azure Resource Manager, Azure Storage, Azure Virtual Machines, Azure Functions, and the Azure CLI and PowerShell. By the end, you'll not only know what these tools do, but also how to use them to boost your productivity in the cloud. Let's be real. One of the hardest parts about Azure is the learning curve. The portal can look cluttered, the options feel endless, and just when you start to get comfortable, Microsoft rolls out another update. Sound familiar? That's why the best way to start is with a test environment. Use the free Azure Sandbox or even Cloud Shell in your browser. No risks, no stress, just safe hands on practice. Once you do this, the portal and its tools will feel way less intimidating. First up, Azure Resource Manager, or ARM. Think of ARM as the master coordinator behind all Azure services. Whenever you use the portal, CLI, or PowerShell, ARM is the layer that makes sure everything stays consistent. With ARM, you organize resources into resource groups. So instead of managing a virtual machine, a database, and a network separately, you bundle them together. It's cleaner, easier, and perfect for deployments. Even better, you can use ARM templates or bicep files infrastructure as code that lets you define your whole environment in a few lines of JSON. Need a dev environment? One command, and it's ready. This is a game changer for IT admins who need repeatable, consistent setups. Next, Azure Storage, one of the most used services in Azure. It's where you store files, backups, logs, or even run workloads like databases and apps. Here's something important for 2025. All storage is encrypted by default. You don't have to enable it. Every blob, table, file, and disk is automatically secured with 256-bit AES encryption. Azure Storage comes in flavors: blob storage for objects like files and media, Azure Files for SMB file shares, queues for message handling, tables for no SQL data, and of course, disks for VMS. For management, use Azure Storage Explorer, a free cross-platform app where you can upload files, browse containers, or even monitor queues without touching code. And if you're handling big data transfers, the AsCopy tool is your best friend. In fact, Microsoft has even introduced AI-powered insights for storage, helping you analyze thousands of accounts at once to optimize cost and usage. Now let's talk about Azure Virtual Machines, the workhorse of cloud computing. With VMS, you get full control. Need Windows or Linux servers in minutes? Done. Want to run specialized workloads like AI with GPUs? Azure has VM types, just for that. Common use cases include development and test environments, applications with fluctuating demand, or extending your on premises data center into the cloud. Microsoft also guarantees serious uptime. With availability zones and VM scale sets, you can get up to 99.99% uptime, while Azure auto heals and balances workloads. The CLI makes VM deployment easy too. For example, as VM create spins up a new server with just one command. All right, let's step into serverless with Azure Functions. This is where Azure really shows its modern side. Instead of worrying about servers, you just write your code, and Azure runs it when needed. Functions are event driven. For example, run a script when a file lands in blob storage, or trigger code when a message enters a queue. You can even set up timer based jobs, like a nightly cleanup task. The best part, you only pay when your code runs. No idle costs, no wasted servers. For more complex cases, there's durable functions. These let you chain multiple functions together into workflows, perfect for automation or long running tasks. So if you want less infrastructure hassle and more coding freedom, Functions is the way to go. Finally, let's cover Azure CLI and PowerShell, your automation superpowers. Sure, the portal is nice, but doing everything manually can get slow. That's where the CLI shines. The Azure CLI works cross platform: Windows, Mac, Linux. It uses simple, predictable commands like a Z group create dash dash name my rg dash dash location east US azvm list. You can script these into pipelines, automate large deployments, or just manage Azure faster. And here's an important update for 2025. From September, Microsoft requires multi-factor authentication for CLI logins, so make sure to use device codes or service principals for automation. If you prefer PowerShell, no worries. The As module gives you the same power but in PowerShell style. So, here's the big takeaway. Master these essential tools: Resource Manager, Storage, Virtual Machines, Functions, and CLI, and you'll unlock the true potential of Azure. Start small, practice in a sandbox, and gradually connect the dots. Soon, Azure won't feel overwhelming. It'll feel like second nature. Now, I'd love to hear from you. Which Azure tool do you want me to dive deeper into next? Drop a comment below and let's continue the conversation. If this video helped you, hit that like button, subscribe for more Azure insights, and don't forget to check out my next video where we'll explore real world cloud strategies in action. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.